The next time you see a stranger driving a Ferrari, pause for a second and notice your actual thought. Most people will not think anything about the driver. They will think about themselves. They will picture how they would look behind that steering wheel. Morgan Housel calls this the man in the car paradox. And it is the simplest, sharpest explanation of why so much modern wealth gets wasted on appearances. Wealth that almost never delivers what the buyer is actually trying to buy. In Chapter 8 of The Psychology of Money, Housel tells a story from his early career. Before he became one of the most respected finance writers in the world, Housel spent his college years working as a valet at a luxury hotel in Los Angeles. Every day, guests pulled up in Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and Rolls-Royces. The whole aristocratic fleet, as he describes it. And like any young man surrounded by those cars, Housel dreamed of owning one himself. He thought, in his own words, that those cars sent a strong signal to others, that you have made it, that you are smart, that you are rich, that you have taste, that you are important. Look at me. But Housel writes that something strange happened over time as he watched guest after guest pull up. He realized the irony. He almost never looked at the drivers themselves. When a Ferrari pulled up, his eyes were glued to the car, and to the daydream of himself behind that wheel. The actual person sitting in the driver's seat was, in Housel's words, almost invisible to him. And then it hit him. The drivers expected to be seen. They expected admiration. They expected to be perceived as the kind of important, successful person who could afford that car. But the people watching them, Housel and you, and almost everyone, were not really looking at them at all. The watchers were looking at the car and imagining themselves in it. Housel writes the line plainly. When you see someone driving a nice car, you rarely think, wow, the guy driving that car is cool. Instead, you think, wow, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. This, Housel says, is the paradox. People use wealth to signal to others that they should be admired. But the others, the audience for that signal, almost never deliver the admiration. They are too busy using your wealth as a benchmark for their own desire to be admired. You buy the car to be seen. The audience does not actually see you. They see themselves. Housel's deepest framing of this paradox shows up in a letter he wrote to his son after he was born. In that letter, Housel said, "You might think you want an expensive car, a fancy watch, and a huge house. But I'm telling you, you don't. What you want is respect and admiration from other people, and you think having expensive stuff will bring it. It almost never does, especially from the people you want to respect and admire you." Read that one more time. The thing you think you want, the car, the watch, the house, is almost never what you actually want. What you actually want is respect, and the items you are buying to earn that respect rarely produce it from the people whose respect you most value. Housel argues, and we agree, that humility, kindness, and empathy will bring you more genuine respect than horsepower ever will. The audience you most want to impress is rarely impressed by the items at all. There's a small, subtle, quietly destructive lie embedded in almost every status purchase. Pick one person you follow whose entire feed is luxury. Watches, cars, houses. Now ask yourself, honestly, have you even once thought to yourself, wow, that person is impressive? Or have you only thought, wow, I'd look good in that watch? The honest answer is the second one. The honest answer is what the entire luxury industry depends on you not noticing. You are paying enormous sums of money to be the unwilling backdrop of someone else's daydream. And the math of this gets devastating in compounding terms. $100,000 spent on a status car is not really $100,000. Using the same compounding logic from earlier in this series, that money, left to compound for 30 years at reasonable market returns, would grow into something closer to $1 million. You are not trading $100,000 for admiration. You are trading roughly $1 million in future wealth for admiration that the audience is not actually delivering. I'll be honest, I've done this. Most viewers have. The recognition isn't shameful, it's the prerequisite to stopping. The paradox does not say don't enjoy nice things. Housel himself says he likes both wealth and fancy cars. The paradox simply says, be honest about what you're buying. If respect and admiration are the goal, the items rarely produce them. There's one question that, if you ask it honestly before any visible status purchase, will save you more money than every investing strategy combined. The question is, if nobody ever saw me using this, would I still want it? That's the whole episode. The car, the watch, the house, the bag, the trip for the photo, every one of them either passes that test or fails it. Most fail it. Build that question into your financial life as a literal pause before any major purchase, and you will rebuild thousands of decisions in your favor over the next decade. As Housel writes, humility, kindness, and empathy will produce more lasting respect than horsepower ever will. If you caught yourself nodding through this episode, hit subscribe. The recognition itself is the work. And the next in the series is the final story of Season 1. It is about an animator who had bankrupted his first studio, whose films were financed on outrageous terms, who had produced over 400 cartoons by his mid-30s, and most of them had lost money, until one single 83-minute film released in 1938 changed everything. His name was Walt Disney. We will see you in the next Yield Tales episode.